This is good. Welcome back to the channel. So today's topic is, how far has feminism spread? So there's everyone kind of has their own views on the depth of feminism, and before we get into how far it spread, let's break down or define what is feminism. So feminism is just this ideology that was pushed, I won't even say by women, but a group of people have politically made an ideology that women deserve, you know, if not the same, more than what men have. If that makes sense. So to put that into context, it's like living wages or just salaries, annual salaries. It's they feel like, they don't have to do, what Trump says. If you do as good as a job, you get paid as good as a job. Most of the time, that's not the case. Like, you know, there's a lot of jobs that require physical labor. There's a lot of jobs that require just a very stoic or logical kind of position, and that's just not for women to fulfill. There's a saying, well, actually no, I forgot, it's not a quote, but it goes like, if all women were to quit working right now, nothing would happen in the world. Everything would remain the same. But if all men were to quit working, the world would be in shambles. The chaos would occur. And that's true, because if you look at the jobs that women have, you got HR, you got, there's a couple nurses here and there, but it's not to the point where the world would collapse if they lost their jobs, if that makes sense. So, it's just, and then on top of that, they expect, because they get paid more, the ones that do get paid more than majority of men, they expect the dating dynamics to remain the same. Like, men are still supposed to provide. They're still supposed to treat them like they're princesses just because they make more money. And the truth is, men are waking up to the fact that, hey, we don't have to do that. Why would we do that? Why would we want someone to treat us like we're nothing or not our superior? Even if you make more money, right? If you have a woman and she wants to date and she makes more money than, a guy that she's into, she's still supposed to hold that feminine energy and submit to that man. But it's hard to do that if the man isn't superior financially, probably physically. It's a little bit easier. There's a graph that shows that, this is great too. The more in shape a man is, the more physically fit, that's when a woman will have their fun time with them. But it's not a long-term committed relationship. But no matter, like, there's a threshold for the amount of money a man makes where physical appeal does not matter. As long as you're that provider, you could be the most ugliest, non-attractive guy. If you got that bank, what's there to tell you? You can't tell them shit. So yeah, it's real, and it's a lot of people don't understand that. And then they get into relationships, and then, they get married, and then they end up getting divorced, and they're like, what happened? Why? I did everything right. No, it's just female nature. This is part of feminism. It's hypergamy, right? Always wanting what's better. There's no settling, you know. And then also you got misandry, which people don't talk about a lot, but that's part of feminism. It's like the hatred of men. So that's another boat that we'll have to jump on in another day. But I prefer not to talk about it because it's stupid. Everyone knows it's stupid, even the majority of women know that it's dumb. You need men. You can't just live life without men. If that makes sense. And let's see what else. So back to how far it's spread, right? So in the States, obviously, United States, it's prevalent. It's there. Everyone sees it. And if you don't see it, create a dating app profile as a man and try to get a date. That's the easiest way to explain it to someone that doesn't understand what feminism is or hypergamy. And there's a term called monkey branching where a woman has all these options, right? And then they'll just jump from tree to tree just to see which one plays out best for them, which, nothing wrong with that. That's how they're biologically designed. So it's either get with the program or get left behind. So yeah, there's that. I'd say outside of the States, it's definitely um, feminism has traveled or moved across, migrated. And I've seen it, especially in tourist zones and other countries, like right here I'm in Thailand, it's here. But it's not as prevalent as, let's say, in Brazil, right? Brazil or Japan is an interesting situation, but it's everywhere. I'm pretty sure it's in Africa, pretty sure it's in Colombia. Excuse me, Colombia. Um, yeah, it's everywhere. So that's not going away anytime soon. Especially, and I brought this up before, with social media. Women, they scroll and then they see all these nice things that women are receiving as gifts and stuff, and they're like, why am I not receiving this? There's a Andrew Tate podcast with Bonnie Blue. He said he's scrolling through TikTok. She sees them scrolling through TikTok, and I might get this quote wrong, but he's like, oh, one gets a Birkin, and then the other gets a G-Wagon, and then another one's on a flight, and then she's like, I'm just as pretty as her. Why don't I have all this? And then she looks at her loser boyfriend and is like, what the fuck are you doing? And the whole time, the dude's like, oh man, she's not going anywhere. All right, yeah, sure. Anyway, so it's here. Um, I guess the only advice I'd give to men is just get in the gym, get a physique, good shape. Um, you know, obviously healthy, natural if you can. That's what I'm doing. I'm natural. Uh, but also try to find a way to get that bankroll up. That's important. And get a social status. Get some sort of like following going, do some content that gains attraction, because that's what they look for. That's why they ask, oh, you can have my Instagram. What's your Instagram? That's because they need to see what you do in order for them to take them serious. So that is it. That is, yeah. It's not all the way there, but it's getting there. And yeah, hope you guys take this information, and peace.